just first of all, your first impression of Jason and his coach and all that stuff?
Great. Super excited to get started. I've said it a bunch of times. I think we have a great group of guys, and a lot of guys from the old group are here. We obviously have a bunch of new people around that are all on the same page already, which is exciting. And we're here for one thing, that's to win. But also we're coming together early, which I think is great. Getting time to spend time with each other these last few weeks, playing, working out, being around coach and his staff has been really good for us. So really looking forward to getting started tomorrow.
How important is it Dwight to get past the first round of playoffs? You guys have been right there the last two.
How important? I mean, the goal is to win a championship. That's, I think, every team's goal, but that's something we've spoken about, and it's super important to us. So one of the steps to getting there is make it past the first round.
Yeah, Brett. Hey, Dwight, you had a strong finish to last season. Was there a certain point in the year where you kind of felt like physically everything, that you returned to being pre-injury Dwight? And then how different was this offseason for you, having come off, having played the season, as opposed to like rehabbing toward coming back?
Yeah, the Achilles rehab is it's a long rehab, and there's the straight tendon repair and letting it kind of take the time to the sutures and all that, and recover from the surgery, and then you got to build up the strength in the calf and all of that and up the chain. But once you start playing, there's still some adjustments to be made in terms of timing, in terms of building that base strength level back up, explosiveness, reactiveness, and trust. So to tell you a specific time or game, I couldn't do that, but it was definitely a pretty long process to get back to fully trusting it. Thankfully, I'm there now, and this offseason was great for me to be able to train and also compete. So yeah, it was a great offseason.
To follow up on that too, I think sometimes at least in media and non-medical fields, you hear that maybe year 2 post-surgery is when players really start to feel like themselves. Do you feel like you still have a little ways to go or a little bit potential to gain, after, like you said, having a healthy offseason, being able to build that base?
I guess it's tricky to answer that question because my goal was never really to get back to where I was. I always said, okay, now I have time to really just rebuild this from scratch. And I've learned a lot over the course of my career, and spent a lot of time with our training staff, with our weight staff, just learning about the body before the injury even. So to be given a period of time to build up from scratch, I wanted to come back stronger than I left. So that's a process that will continue on for the remainder of my career. So there's not going to be any point where I'll say, okay, at this benchmark, I reached this, or that benchmark, I reached that. So every single day, the rehab continues for me, and it's both legs, it's shoulders, it's whatever, back, it's things that aren't bothering me, because this kind of taught me a little bit about, how this game can leave you. So starting to take care of my body in a more conscious, specific way to play as long as I can.
Eddie, go ahead.
Eddie Sutfield, Mavs.com. Dwight, what, from your vantage point, tells you that this team now, other than coaching change, with modest changes in the offseason, is ready to take another step forward?
I think with any sort of change, regardless of what it is, it presents a great opportunity for growth. And I think that's what this offseason and this period of, transition has provided us. And I think a lot of guys are kind of grabbing the opportunity by the horns and have spent a lot of time this summer developing their individual games. And a lot of guys spent a lot of time here together, competing and getting to know each other, and reestablishing some of those bonds on a player level, but also with the new staff. So I think simply the transition and the change is going to give us a chance to take a leap, just by kind of representing and reintroducing ourselves to the league.
Mark.
Sort of answer my question, Dwight. Mark Paul, Mavs TV, good to talk to you. But a normal September is guys getting together, playing pickup, and competing and bonding. That's really an important part of it. Obviously, we've been in an abnormal world for a long time now. But is it? How did it feel in September, the getting together part? Did it feel pretty normal? And how would you characterize it from everybody getting together?
No, it was great. It was great. It felt a lot more normal than I guess last September for sure, or last whatever it was. So to be able to be in the facility for prolonged periods of time with everybody in there together, I think was crucial, especially for a season like this, to be able to have those obviously stuff on the court, the weight room, training room, all that, but have like those prolonged moments on the sideline when guys are kind of done and you're not getting scurried out because there's a cleaning crew coming in and your 4 guys on the court time is up. It's like, no, we can sit here, we can catch up, we can talk, we can strategize, we can talk about TV shows or whatever it is. I think those moments that we kind of missed out on over the last couple of seasons have hurt guys, not necessarily in ways that show up on the box score per se, but in some ways, yes, but also just socially, it's important to have guys to be able to open up and have those conversations, and it helps the team chemistry, and it does show up in the standings.
With the AP, you mentioned new coaching staff with a lot of the core is back. What is it like for the returning core when there is a new coaching staff?
A very broad question.
I mean, is it like wiping a board clean and starting over? Do you guys bring some stuff from past experiences to share with the staff? Or?
I think on a personnel basis, individually, all the things that we've learned about each other obviously carry on. We're not just going to start relationships over from scratch. I think the things that I've learned Luka likes to do in the pick and roll, the way I know KP likes to play outside, or the things Maxi or JB or whoever it is, Tim can do, those are obviously still there. And we're going to use those to our advantage in this new system. But we do have to kind of reestablish some of the ways we're going to use those tools based on how we want to organize our talent. So I wouldn't say it's a wipe the board clean situation by any means, but it is going to be an opportunity for us to wipe a section and kind of reorganize. So I think it's a good thing, though.
Tim McMahon, ESPN, as a leader of this team and the union rep, what approach, if any, do you take with the guys who haven't been, maybe it's a guy who hasn't been vaccinated?
In terms of what?
Like, are you trying to convince them to be vaccinated? Is it just, are you just hands off and it's an individual decision? Like, are you involved in, as Jason said, the goal is to get 100%. Are you involved in trying to help get the guys who get the vaccination to do so?
Yeah, definitely provide any information that they could want. I know some guys had some questions and trying to find ways to get them those answers and connect them with people maybe outside of the NBA or outside of our circles, impartial third parties to give them whatever information that it is they need. But at the end of the day, it is an individual decision. We would like everyone to be vaccinated, but it is their choice, and everyone has, their own function that they're going to run their decision making through, and whatever comes out comes out. But we're not pressuring guys to do anything that they're extremely uncomfortable with. We've presented the positives of the benefits of being vaccinated for themselves individually and for all of us. And if they make that decision, great. If not, they're still our teammates. We're still going to compete. We're still going to treat them with love and respect and keep it moving.
All right, and we're going to jump to Zoom for 2 questions. Chris?
Chris Henderson, chendo.com. So Dwight, obviously with Jason Kidd being here, you watched him growing up as a player. Can you talk about some things that you have possibly learned from him in a short span, and like for your leadership? Has he talked to you about certain things, being the guy, the glue guy on his team?
Watching him, one thing I remember for sure was he was a floor general, like the definition of it. Was a great communicator and got his guys on the same page, and especially offensively was able to make sure guys were getting easy shots, not just getting open shots, but open, easy shots, and creating opportunities for his team to be successful. So that's a huge thing. I may not necessarily be in that role on every possession in terms of playmaking, creating, but the essence of it is important for all of us.
And then Prabha?
Hi, Dwight. Prabhat Film City Back Sports page. You talked about the familiarity and chemistry you have with some of the guys that you've built over the years on this roster. How important is that going to be for you guys moving forward this season and reaching those aspirations of getting to a championship and competing for one?
To how important is that?
Yes, the familiarity and chemistry. How big is that going to be for you guys this season to go forward?
I mean, very important. I think any team, if you just take 10 guys out of, the wild blue yonder and throw them on a roster, they're going to have, a hard time going against some guys that have been together for a few years. So I think we have a lot of skilled guys in this team, a lot of talent. And thankfully, we have a core group of guys that have spent some time with each other and have competed and have played in the playoffs and have a good understanding of each other's game. But we have some new guys that are going to come in and contribute right away. And we've been fortunate enough, like I said, to have this kind of normal end of the offseason where we could spend time together to kind of try and fast track that, getting to know each other process. So, yeah, to answer your question, it's very important.
Michael Shapiro, last one.
Hi, Dwight. Michael Shapiro, Sports Illustrated. What do you think makes Luka such a nightmare for defenses to defend as a pick and roll partner? And does he have any plays or passes to you in particular that you remember as just, particularly wizardly or very impressive?
I think the toughest part about guarding him is he just has so many options. He can attack on all three levels. He can find guys literally anywhere on the court. I think he has, like most guys know, his eyes in the back of his head. So it's not like where he's looking matters. So you really got to be ready for anything as a defender. And then as a team, we have shooters all around him. And then we usually have a rim presence on a roller. So he has a lot of options. So that's probably the toughest part for guys guarding him.
Thank you. Dwight, appreciate you.
Gracias.